Welcome. If you're a newer fan trying to wrap your head around the absolute peak of Spanish football, this explainer of Barcelona's historic 2025-2026 season is exactly where you need to be. Today, we're setting the stage for a truly unforgettable night at the Camp Nou. We're going to look at the La Liga champions and break down the specific match that cemented their status in the history books with an achievement so rare, well, it literally hasn't been seen in decades. 19. Think about that number for a second. In a standard 38-game La Liga season, a team plays exactly 19 games at their home stadium. What we're looking at today is absolute perfection. 19 home games played, 19 home games won. Not a single draw, not a single loss on their own turf. It's just incredible.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. First up, a perfect home record. Then, breaking down the match, dominating the stats, comparing the league rivals, and finally, bidding farewell to a legend.
Starting things off with Section 1, a perfect home record, making La Liga history. To really appreciate how Hansi Flick's squad made La Liga history here, we have to flip back through the record books. Perfect home seasons? They almost never happen. In the entire history of La Liga, this Barcelona squad is only the 11th side to ever win all of their home matches. The last time Barcelona did it was way back in the 1959-1960 season, but back then, a perfect home record just meant winning 15 games. The last team to do it at all was their bitter rivals, Real Madrid, in 1985-1986, which took 17 games. But this 2025-2026 Barcelona team, they're the very first team ever to win a full 19 out of 19 at home.
And honestly, what makes us even more staggering is that they didn't just build a fortress out of one comfortable stadium. They had to overcome massive logistical challenges, literally playing across 3 different home grounds this campaign. They played in the tiny 6,000 capacity Estadi Johan Cruyff, then moved to the Barcelona Olympic Stadium, and finally their newly renovated Nou Camp. To maintain absolute focus and a 100% win rate while constantly shifting your home turf, it's a huge testament to the elite mentality of this squad.
Moving on to Section 2, breaking down the match. Barcelona 3, Real Betis 1. Let's look at the actual 90 minutes of football that secured this historic 19th win. And, this wasn't against some bottom table team either. This was against a very dangerous 5th place Real Betis. Here's how the mini-drama unfolded. Barcelona struck first at 28 minutes when Brazilian forward Rafinha caught the Betis keeper out with a brilliant free kick. At 62 minutes, Rafinha struck again, capitalizing on a sloppy pass from former Arsenal defender Hector Bellerin. But Betis didn't just roll over. At 69 minutes, Barcelona's Xavi conceded a foul in the box, and former Real Madrid star Isco converted the penalty to give Betis a lifeline. The tension in the stadium was palpable. But just 5 minutes later, right at minute 74, defenders João Cancelo stepped up and curled a fine strike into the bottom corner from 20 yards out to completely slam the door shut. 3-1, history made. Now, for Section 3, dominating the stats. A tactical masterclass. Now, what's really interesting when you peel back the curtain on that 3-1 scoreline is the tactical masterclass by Hansi Flick, especially this massive disparity in possession. Barcelona held the ball for 63.3% of the match. If you're a new fan, the golden rule in football is pretty simple. If you don't have the ball, you can't dictate the game. Barcelona passed the ball an incredible 705 times, compared to Betis' 411. They completely starved a Champions League-bound Real Betis side of possession, just suffocating their ability to create chances. And all that overwhelming possession wasn't just passing for the sake of passing, right? It translated directly into serious attacking output. Barcelona generated 15 total shots compared to just 7 from Real Betis. They more than doubled the attacking threat of their opponents, essentially keeping the pressure constantly pinned inside the Betis half. So the crucial point here is precision. Barcelona didn't just shoot more, they were incredibly accurate. They maintained a 90.6% pass accuracy for the entire match and put 9 of their shots directly on target. Real Betis, who are a very solid team, only managed 2 shots on target all night. Betis simply couldn't keep up with the sheer relentless precision of Barcelona's attack in that final third. All right, Section 4, comparing the league rivals, the 2025-26 La Liga landscape. If you're new to following La Liga, you might be wondering just how much better Barcelona was compared to the rest of the pack this season. Well, just look at the top of the table. Barcelona finished with 94 points. That is a massive 11-point gap between them and their closest rivals, second-place Real Madrid, who finished with 83. And look down at 5th place. Real Betis, the team they just beat, finished with 57 points. That is a 37-point chasm between the champions and a team that's widely considered one of the absolute best in the country. It really shows you that Barcelona wasn't just playing a different game this year. They were operating in a completely different universe. When we put Barcelona side by side with Real Madrid, that stark statistical dominance really comes to life. Barcelona scored 94 goals this season to Madrid's 73. They weren't just squeaking by with narrow victories, you know? They were outscoring, outplaying, and completely outclassing the second-best team in the league by a huge margin. For a new fan, this right here is the textbook definition of what an elite, historically great season looks like. Which brings us to our final section, Part 5, Farewell to a Legend, Robert Lewandowski's Goodbye. Let's move away from the cold, hard data for a second, because this match was also about the human element. It built to this incredible emotional climax. I want you to just imagine the sensory picture inside the Nou Camp in the closing moments of this match. You've got 56,870 fans on their feet. The 37-year-old Polish striker, Robert Lewandowski, is being substituted for Marc Casado. The entire stadium is chanting his name in perfect unison, Lewandowski, Lewandowski. Even the young superstar Lamine Yamal joined in, serenading him. Lewandowski literally left the pitch in tears, soaking in the applause for his very final act as a Barcelona player. To put his massive legacy into perspective, just look at this number, 119. Since joining from Bayern Munich in 2022, Lewandowski has scored an astonishing 119 goals in just 191 games for Barcelona. He's leaving at the end of his contract this summer, and his monumental contribution to this club's modern era just cannot be overstated. He leaves as a champion and, for sure, a club legend. So, what does this all mean in the grand scheme of things? We've seen the perfect 19-game home record. We've seen the sheer statistical dominance over high-caliber teams like Real Betis. We've seen the massive point gap over Real Madrid. So, is this 2025-26 Barcelona squad the greatest La Liga side of the modern era? It's a debate that's going to rage on for sure, but if you're a new fan, you've just witnessed a season you'll be hearing about for decades. I highly recommend tuning in next season to see how on earth anyone manages to follow up this level of perfection. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and we'll see you next time.